Welcome to Intentional Divorce Insights. I'm Leah Hadley, certified divorce financial analyst, accredited financial counselor, and the founder of Intentional Divorce Solutions. I'll be your guide through the complexities of divorce, finance, and emotional wellness. Join me as we uncover practical tips and empowering insights to help you navigate your divorce with clarity and intention. Hi there, and welcome back to Intentional Divorce Insights. I am so happy that you are here with us today. We have a fabulous guest who is going to be sharing some information about a really special event that is coming up later this month. So stay tuned for that. But let me welcome our guest. This is Tammy Gustafson, who I have had the pleasure of knowing for a few years now. But I'm going to have her introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her background.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on, Leah. I appreciate it. So I am Tammy Gustafson. I am a counselor and a coach, and my focus is really on helping those heal after betrayal. I have a counseling practice, so I do a lot of trauma work and EMDR and PTSD. But this area of helping people heal after betrayal is really my heart and passion. So, and that's how we got connected a couple years ago. I host the Betrayal Healing Conference, and just try to provide services for betrayed partners. My practice is mainly women, but just to help them move through betrayal and move through that healing process so that they can get to a point of seeing joy and adventure and a beauty again in the world.
Oh, I love that. So, what was the original impetus behind starting the Betrayal Healing Conference, and how long has it been going on for?
Well, this is the fourth year.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. You know, the core of it is really simple. It's that I want to gather people who are healing or people who are hurting and healing from betrayal, and I want to gather safe speakers who can help them grow and who will empower them and validate them. Because the reality is that nobody expects for betrayal to happen to them, and nobody prepares you for it. So when it does happen, it is so shattering and is so disorienting that, and this is part of my story as well. So it's like you don't know where to turn, you don't know who to go to, you don't know which way is up, you don't know if you're headed in the right direction or if you're going backwards. And what happens is that a lot of people end up they search usually for a marriage counselor because they think this happened within a relationship. So it's a couple's issue. It's not a couple's issue, right? It's his issue. If he is the one that is betrayed, that's his issue. But what I find is that by the time women hit my office, they've usually experienced a lot of hurt and pain from professionals and therapists or faith leaders or whoever it may be. And so there's a lot of information out there that's it's really hurtful. And it can make the healing process even more difficult. So I am very protective of betrayed partners. And so creating this space where I handpick the speakers who I do my absolute best to vet. And so I know that they will come and they will get information that is going to be helpful in healing. That is my heart and my passion behind the conference.
That's awesome. And you have had some amazing speakers in the past. Who can we look forward to seeing this year? What are some of the highlights?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Peter Levine, Dr. Peter Levine, who founded Somatic Experiencing, is talking. And man, I mean, not only is he brilliant and world renowned, but he is like the grandfather I wish that we all had as he was talking in the interview. So I'm really excited about that. In the area of divorce, Lundy Bancroft is going to be on, and he's really talking about abuse, which is one of those, it's one of the areas we're not talking about enough. And it's one of the areas that I think has gone under the radar, and women or betrayed partners in general have had to deal with that themselves. And for those who are going through divorce, there, especially if there's kids, man, there's a whole nother added layer of the abuse of the justice system and the custody and all of that going on. So, so he has some really phenomenal things to say. So I'm excited about him. And then there's Jake Porter and Michelle Mays and Barbara Steffens and you. I love having you on the conference and talking about the financial piece because that is so important. And it's one of the ways that women really get stuck is the fear of what is this going to look like financially if I get divorced. So I'm so excited
Yeah,
to
I
have you on.
appreciate that. And the other piece of it is they have so much fear around who to trust. And so I
Totally.
love that you're bringing all of these trusted professionals together. So that way they know, hey, these people have been vetted. I feel comfortable with these people. It's safe to reach out to them. That's really important, especially when it comes to finances, because so often, people go to a professional and then they're down to, and they have a negative experience. And it was a lot to overcome to make that call to begin with. And now they're having a negative experience. It's just a really tough situation.
Yeah, and I think that fear can keep women in relationships that maybe are no longer healthy for them. But they're so afraid of one, they don't know how to do it, or they're so afraid that I'm can't support myself, I can't support my kids, I'm going to be destitute, all of that. And so to have you speak at the conference, but then also what you just do in your job as well to help women alleviate that fear and to walk with them, oh my gosh, that is so valuable.
I appreciate that very much, Tammy. So, how many speakers are there overall?
There are 35, about 35 this year. There's a lot.
Fantastic.
And
Yeah.
there's
And how many days
probably,
does it go for?
it goes for 5 days. And there's some speakers who are doing a couple talks. So it's probably more around like 40-ish or a little bit more. So there's a lot. It's spread out over 5 days. And then so every day I release about 7 or 8 or whatever the math equals out to. And then everybody has 24 hours to listen to those. I thought about doing less speakers, but I just couldn't because I was like, I want to give the information. And we're also doing a little bit of specialization. Like some are all just for all betrayed partners. Then there are some specifically around divorce. And then there's also a few interviews that are specific to those who did the betraying, and also some for professionals. And so so you don't have to listen to all of them, right? You can kind of pick and choose what you want. But the reality is that everyone really benefit from all of them. And I think sometimes it's important to see the other side and to hear the other side. So yeah, I hope it is empowering and encouraging for everyone who comes.
And when does it start?
It starts on Monday, January 27th through the 31st.
Terrific. So we will have a link in the show notes that you can use to register. There's no cost to register. So I encourage you that even if you only can listen to a couple, to take advantage of that opportunity. But also, if you really want to take advantage of it and you just don't have time that particular week, there's another opportunity to get the recordings, right, Tammy?
That's right. So people can upgrade and purchase the All Access Pass. And then that way they would have access to all the interviews for a year. So kind of unlimited access. And then there's also a bunch of speaker bonuses, which are usually discounts on ebooks, on courses. There's some free webinars, some free Q&As, all sorts of bonus stuff. We also did a panel. We did 2 panels this year. One with women for those who have gone through it, some of the speakers who have gone through it, and about what they wish they would have known when this happened, when this blew up for them. And then also there is a panel which may or may not be helpful for your audience if they're in the middle of divorce, but it's about is he in good recovery? So it might be, if you are going through a divorce, you are still welcome to listen to it because it might be really validating that, like, yeah, no, he wasn't doing the work. So yeah, so there's a couple little extras there too.
So some of the folks listening probably have experienced betrayal of some sort. And, hopefully they're going to get some phenomenal resources from the conference. But are there just some quick tips that you could give people or things to think about if you're just kind of having trouble and you're stuck in that space?
Stuck in the space of, stuck in what space?
Like the betrayal.
Oh, of the betrayal. Absolutely. There's a lot of ways to get stuck in this because it's a very counterintuitive healing process. So a couple key ones. First of all, if you were betrayed, this is not your fault. Period. Full stop. It's not your fault. And I think just about everyone struggles with that because they might be being told by their partner that it is their fault. Well, you weren't having enough sex with me. Well, it was after the baby was born and you weren't available. Oh, well, we drifted apart, whatever the case may be. Or society also blames the one who was betrayed. Well, clearly you weren't having enough sex with him. Otherwise he would have, right? There's that shame messages that society gives, or even our internal. It's like when you've been betrayed, it's like every insecurity you've ever had in your life is suddenly on steroids and feels like it's true. So, and usually this goes to, well, I'm not good enough. Or, my boobs weren't big enough, my stomach this, if I was more attentive, I was more fun. There's all these shame messages that can come flooding in that try to convince the betrayed partner that it was her fault, and it is not. Like if we think about a regular relationship, marriage, whatever the case may be, we say it's 50-50, and we all kind of get that without betrayal. We all kind of get that. But when he crosses, and I'm using men because I typically work with female betrayed partners, but when he crosses that line of the relationship agreement, that is 100% on him. And even if he didn't like what was going on here, there are 100,000 things he could have done to address this, or he could have divorced you or broken up, right? So when he crosses that line and betrays you, that is 100% on him. You weren't like hoisting him up or like giving him a leg up over that wall or that line. So it is on him. And so that's the first step, or that's the first thing that I want to just tell everybody listening is this is not your fault. And you can heal. Okay? You can heal whether your relationship makes it or not, whether you're in the middle of divorce, whether you're whether you're past divorce, you can heal and have a beautiful life ahead of you. But some things, some ways to keep going when you feel like you're stuck. One is if you're early on in this process and you've discovered this, it's not the time to focus on trust, not the time to focus on forgiveness. I think that's that's a common way that women get stuck in this process. It is not the time for that. You focus on getting the truth and getting safety around you. And then you can think about that stuff long down the road. But first, there is anger. There is all the emotions. You've got to allow yourself to grieve and to feel the emotions, including anger. Anger is really important. And so allow yourself to stay in your shoes and for you to do your own work before you focus on any of that stuff like trust and forgiveness.
I think that's such an important point because I think so often the messaging is to really sort of force those issues of trust and forgiveness and a very quick time frame. And how can you even start to get there if you're not feeling safe, right?
Totally. And like trust, early on in relationships, we just give trust. Like we do that. Once there's been betrayal, it's not about giving trust anymore. It is about him being trustworthy and earning that over a long period of time. And forgiveness, how can you forgive something that you don't even know what you're forgiving? Like if he hasn't told you, like how can you do that, right? And there's so much pressure, right? And it's like, nope, that'll get to a place so far down the road. Like it will come up naturally when it's meant to. But if you feel any pressure from anyone or even yourself, just take a deep breath and let it move forward. Because really, first of all, you've got to take care of you. Like it's like you are emotionally in a huge car wreck, and you're on IVs and the ICU, like you got to get to a place where you feel like you can breathe again, where you can start to see it, where you can start to get your strength back before you worry about any of that.
So, Tammy, tell us a little bit about the kind of work you do with people. I know you have a counseling practice, but how do you work with folks?
Well, I have a counseling practice here in Colorado, but the main stuff I do with betrayed partners is through my coaching business called Betrayal Healing. And so, yeah, I do one-on-one coaching, usually virtually. I do the conference. I also do retreats to Paris, which is super fun for those far along in their healing process, no matter what happens to the relationship. So how I work with kind of individually, or how I start there, is when somebody comes in and I hear their story, there's kind of a mental list that I'm running through my head of certain like key aspects of healing that needs to happen. So I just listen and I get curious about where are they at? Like, where are they stuck? Because man, if there's a stuck area, I want to help them get unstuck as fast as possible, because this is a long enough process as it is to heal. We don't want to slow it down, right? So first of all, I kind of look through that of where are they at with their feeling like it was their fault. Where are they at with, are they allowing themselves to grieve? What is their relationship like with anger? How do they feel about boundaries? How are they doing with boundaries and their voice? Like setting boundaries and finding your voice and believing that you are worthy of having your voice, of having your wants and your desires and your needs and putting those out in the world, like taking up space. So I look at all those things and then I help women kind of move through this process. And I've also developed something I call the betrayal healing phases. And what it does is that it walks along with a betrayed partner through the relationship dynamics that heal, all the way through if the relationship ends, if it stays together, whatever. And so the first phase is that it's called reveal. Phase 1 is reveal. And that's when everything blows up and you find out about what happened. And so it's all about getting the truth and getting safety. And then once you get the truth, or that he will never give you the truth, then you kind of move into phase 2, which is rumble. And that's where a lot of this deep work is. This is a phase where women are like, I don't know if I'm going to stay or if I'm going to go. Like, I don't know if he's doing the work. She's hopefully developing her voice and boundaries and her strength. And then phase 3 starts, where it kind of becomes clear the direction the relationship is headed. Whether it's moving towards healing, whether that it's moving towards divorce, or kind of this middle ground of roommates where it's like he's not really doing the work, but she's not ready to divorce and end it. And so it's kind of that middle messy middle. And then there comes a point in time that kind of naturally happens, that kind of organically happens, where women will walk into my office once they've gone through phase 3 or in phase 3, where they start to go like, you know what? I need to focus on me. I need to focus on my healing. And there's this shift that starts to happen. And that's phase 4, which I called, phase 3 is realign. Phase 4 is rebuild. And I love this phase because it's where women get to start to go, okay, that was never wanted that to be part of my story. But now I have my whole life ahead of me. So what do I want that life to look like? What have I lost? What have I gained? And how do I want to start making the life that I am excited about living? And so it's this whole process of her really stepping in and creating this life. And that's what my Paris retreat is really about, is kind of like the end of phase 3 and phase 4 of like finding you again and all those pieces that got lost along the way and pulling them together, and you stepping into your strength and no longer focusing so much on the relationship, but on you and your healing. And it's beautiful. It is so beautiful. Women are, man, it is possible to heal. They come through this. And man, the women who have gone through this are some of the strongest women I know. It's incredible to see them heal.
Yeah, what a humbling experience to witness that transformation. I love that you do this Paris trip, because so many of my clients who do end up ending a relationship grieve their visions of travel plans. And to have
Totally.
this be part of the transformation and to go somewhere and, have this special retreat, I think that's amazing.
Mm. Yeah, I hear that a lot with the women who go. They just like, I always thought we would go to Paris together. That was our plan. Or I want to travel, but he didn't want to. And now and then they fly there by themselves, like, which is like really empowering. But then they're met by this group of women who get it. And man, it's like there is this transformation into becoming soul sisters and like, because it's really isolating and lonely a lot of times. So to be around a group of women who get it and who are healing and who can cry with you and who can laugh until you cry, it's just like, oh, it's so great.
Fantastic. When's the next trip?
Next trip is in September. It's the 10th through the 16th.
Oh, very nice.
So we do all sorts of wonderful adventures and soul life-giving things. It's fun. And eat a lot of chocolate croissants. Like that is the main number one goal. Eat a lot of chocolate croissants.
You have your priorities straight.
Right?
Tammy, I so appreciate you spending some time with us. I just love the work that you're doing, and I'm excited to get the word out to more people. If you are listening and you just want to learn more about Tammy and the Betrayal Healing Conference, where can they connect with you, Tammy?
Yeah, my website to connect with me, my website, betrayalhealing.com, and then the conference through the link that Leah has. And I would love to have you join us.
Terrific. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. And for our audience, I look forward to talking with you next week.
Thank you for joining me on Intentional Divorce Insights. It's a privilege to share this time with you. I hope each episode offers valuable guidance to navigate your journey. If you find our content helpful, please leave a review to help others discover the benefits of intentional decision-making in divorce. Until next time, take care and continue to embrace your path with intention.